All right, friends, out with the old, in with the also old, but perhaps slightly better. So that's where we are, and we're going to get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm the Oliver Man, 4180 white here. Decided that it was time for the radiator to just go ahead and leave the chat. I mean, yeah, it still works and still holds water, kinda. But it was getting to the point where you'd stop, you know, every maybe 45 minutes and put water in it just to keep enough to keep up with the demand for cooling. Because there's a lot of stuff going on here, and you need good cooling capacity to dissipate the heat. Recently, I acquired this out of a 4180. Took it out myself. Took it out with the help of the other guy. And she ain't no peach. As a matter of fact, it's worse than I thought when I called him. And then when I saw it in person, and we took the front of the tractor loose, look at this. I mean, it's bad, but it's not leaking. And the top tank doesn't look like it's leaking at all. It looks still good, original seams. So I have hopes that perhaps this will do the trick for us, at least to get us by whilst I have this one dealt with. Because, yeah, we can't do that anymore. I mean, I don't have time to stop that often, and also I'm worried that one of these times maybe the gauge will lie and I'll end up overheating it or something, and I don't want that. So, sure. While I had that out, I went ahead and restored the tractor, you know, with some of the magician's helper there. That made that nice. When I power washed it, it kind of blew off a lot of the paint, and you could see a lot of yellow. So I didn't like that, so I went this route. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to lift it up here, and I think that this might be the ticket. Of course, it's backwards now of what it needs to be, but I can spin it in the bucket by hand here, and basically we used the tractor to do the heavy lifting part. Here's my bootleg piece of rubber I added last time I had this out, because I decided more padding was probably better than less padding. In practice, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I feel like that would be the smart thing to do. So I need to turn it around, and I also need to take the lower radiator hose off of it because it's still got one hanging on, and I think we're just going to use this one. I'll stick you there to my nice fresh paint that now you're going to pull off some of it, but whatever. All right. Gently is the name of the game here. Gently. Try to see where the other hose clamp is. And then again, maybe we'll just set it in there, and then we'll take that off when we can lay on the ground and perhaps figure this all out. Yeah, see, we're so close here, yet so far. We don't want to poke a hole in this. There we go. That's more better-ish. We're gonna have to go to the other side. Hopefully that won't fall over in the meantime. Well, okay, now we're struggling. I could potentially do this if I back the loader tractor away. However, that means this is going to be vulnerable to falling all the way to the ground. In the meantime, whilst I do that, oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. That sets me up for a better time. However, I lost my rubber piece underneath. I'll have to tuck that up in a second. Let's get the loader tractor out of the way. I don't know that that rubber was really doing anything. I need to get this back and get the, yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to hang out a minute because I don't know that I can do all this with all the stuff I need to do. I'm having to do some creative dramatics here to get everything where it needs to be. My oil hoses for the coolers and the air conditioning line and all that kind of stuff is now in the wrong place. And if I don't get that in the right place, there, then it's going to be a bad problem for us. And I don't want that. I think we're slowly making this happen. At least we're in the neighborhood. Now, is this a 5/16? We're gonna have to try to get that old hose off of there, which means we're probably going to be laying on the ground. My favorite thing to do. I guess you won't see that. The screwdriver slot portion of this was not getting me anywhere. Also, before I put the new, or before I hook up my radiator hose to this, I want to flush this a little bit because this is pretty nasty material that's coming out of this. I guess it's antifreeze and rust and water and the whole 9 yards, but probably some mud. I don't know. But we can't have that. We gotta get rid of that. Come on off of there, you. The trick is not to pull so vigorously that we end up throwing the radiator out onto the ground. That would suck very much. Nasty. Come on. Well, this ain't working good. Why? Okay, here it comes. All right. Like I said, we're not going to put that on just yet. But I think we will go ahead and bolt it in so it's solid. And then we will start with everything else, because I don't know. I mean, what's a guy do? I'm just trying to get by till I can get something better, because I know this is not good, but it's better. I'm gonna put you down and I'll get those 4 bolts in on each side, and then I'll get the hose and we'll do some flushing. All right, when I took this out of the other one, lots of water came rushing out. So it does hold water, and I hope it still does. But I can't get turned around here like I want. I'm gonna stick it in the top there, and we're gonna just see what comes out. It'd be better if I could I was wondering, it does flow through pretty quick, so that's good. What I'm going to do here in a minute, I think, is hold my hand over the bottom of it to plug it off, and then let it go all at once. Maybe. I can get my hand down there. Slow it down a little bit. And then let a big slug come out. I don't see any water bubbling up the sides, so that's good. Okay, now I'm going to shut the water off, and we'll revisit this in a minute. I think that's pretty clean. It's probably about as good as I can get. So good. Now that we know that works, and we've also made a muddy mess here to work in, but we're on the way, friends. We need to put that bottom hose on, tighten it up. Basically just everything we did in the last one, but in the opposite way. Now I do see something not quite kosher. That ain't the way them other ones was. This one, they're straight. On the other one, they were not straight anymore. Were they supposed to be straight? And life made them not straight? I don't know. I bet we're gonna have some struggles getting stuff like that loose. So that will lead to another wrinkle. Do we go ahead and put the stuff together, or do we just leave some of the sheet metal off of it and use it and put it back together later? I don't like that, but I don't know. Maybe we'll just ignore that problem till later. Yeah, I could probably take my metal pieces off of this radiator and put them on there, but that scares me too, because what if some of these start breaking off? I'd rather not disturb this radiator more than necessary, because the vibration alone will be enough to disturb it for everybody. So, yeah. I'm also thinking maybe the next thing I want to do before anything else is flip these back up so that they're not in distress. And then they will stay nice, hopefully. There you go. Maybe you can see that way. I gotta undo whatever I did. And I probably already regret it. Maybe not. I'm just wondering if, like, a couple of these were up on top of this, and two of them were under it. I think that's what it was. It'll make sense in time, friends. In time. All right, I got this fella roughed in. I got everything loosey there put together. Need to tighten all this back up. I don't think I hit this quite right. Maybe I did, I don't know. That needs to go there. But I was thinking that this was below that brace. But what difference does it make at this juncture? We'll figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. It's one thing after another, friends. And I need to get the radiator hoses hooked back up and everything else, and yeah. All right, well, it's soaking wet on the ground, so that's gonna be nice and miserable, but that's gotta happen. I mean, I gotta get this put back together. And of course, it's probably gonna make me struggle. There we go. I think that worked pretty good-ish, didn't it? I just gotta get my hose clamp tightening rig here. Well, I canootsened myself on something else, I see. Okay, come on. Why are you making me struggle? Jeez. All right. Now the guy before me, I don't know if I pointed this out a while ago. The guy who owned this whatever radiator tractor, he put in a 90-degree fitting there, and you should have had a straight fitting, so it could come through here. So the top of the tank is bent from where he found out ultimately when he did it that it wasn't going to clear. Luckily, I think that it's enough where it's not going to be vibrating on there if I tighten it up in a sensible way, which I think I can do. And then that'll be done. And then the bottom two braces there, and then I think that setup would be tight again. Maybe we should put on that radiator hose whilst I'm thinking the train of thought of radiator hoses. Maybe. There we go. We're getting there. It would be cool to know if this was actually like the radiator out of some kind of over-the-road truck. You know, maybe a guy could find one then. Maybe there would be, yeah, you know, because it's kind of made like a truck radiator in a way. But I'm pretty sure the truck radiators would be wider. We sure hope this is going to work, because this is a lot of work for a failure. See if I hold this like this. Hopefully that'll play ball. This, which is a struggle. Alright. We're gonna hope. Alright. We're slowly remembering and learning. We need to hook up the air conditioner lines while they're easy to get to. And then, I think, well, we could go ahead and put the radiator tank in first, I think, and then go to the, put the nose back on last. I don't know. I just think it'd be easier to get to that brace bolt that way. Also the hood bolts. And also, I don't remember what all those bolts did, but we'll figure it out. No, I do kind of remember. One of them goes, one of those with the nut goes into this hole, and the other one goes to that brace. So that'd be that. But if I put the tank in now and get that all hooked up, see, then I could fill it with water, see, and then see if it's going to hold water, see, or if it was all for nothing, see. So that might be what I do, see. We'll hook up the front stuff later. Let's do, where did I put it? There it is. Tank. How did I do this? Also, he said to himself as he did not remember. His low intelligence hindered him from doing what he wanted to accomplish. Alright. That's kind of working out for me. Kinda. I should also probably just go ahead and put all of the bolts started in their holes to make sure that everything lines up, because we don't know that it's going to, friends, since this is a totally different, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It'll be close, but there might not be a cigar. Come on, you. Okay, there we go. Let me Well, is that going to be enough if I cut some off? Yeah, probably barely. To just use what they got here on this hose. But I really do, I think, need to put the other 2 bolts in the other side before I do anything else. Yeah, we're struggling a little. Also, the sun's going down. But I got one over on this, one on this side started. Which, boy, that's weird, isn't it? I had to use the screwdriver there to help make that happen. It doesn't matter if I get that drawn a little closer together. I could get the top one started then. Getting there. Close. Let's see what did that do for us. Boy, I can't even get my hand in there. Get there. There we go. I think we're struggling. Well, it ain't going. I don't know why I'm surprised, not surprised. I don't know. I'm not real sure how I'm gonna make it go. That to me seems like I just made it worse. There we go. We might have got her on that one. So close. We gotta put that hose back on and then it would hold water. But it'll be easier to put these bolts in with the hose loose. Because it wasn't easy a while ago to take it loose. When we were suffering. Oh, also I need to put the little hose on. I said that once already, but I wasn't thinking. Alright. Now the only thing that's hindering us is this rubber right here. And it might be long enough to just let her eat. I think it is. Let's just pretend it's okay. If we just pretend, it's fine, you know? It can't hurt us. I'll tighten that clamp and we'll fill it with water and we'll see if it starts gushing out anywhere. If it doesn't, then we're better than we were. And if it does, we're exactly like we were. So either way, we're not out much. This is mainly just a bleed line for getting the last bit of air out of there, I believe. Also, you may notice that I'm being chewed up by tiny little mosquitoes, which, despite it being cold outside, have decided that it's their time to shine. But yeah, everything is tight now. To this point, we got to tighten the hood, put the nose back on, and whatever, but we're going to put water in it first and see what we got. And I'm not putting antifreeze in it until I'm sure that it's not going to leak. We'll do that later. Hopefully we'll get this one done before winter and we'll put it back like it should be also, but not limited to. Now I'm thinking about this. And oh, that is unbelievable. How can this be? Look at the crappiness of that bolt. How can it be coming off of there? Well, that's okay too. See, it doesn't have to come all the way out, so that one's probably fine. This one, somebody did the wrong size, and that was a pain in the Knudsen to try to get that off of there on the other one. So we need to see if the threads are still good and they just abandon ship or what. Oh, one more thing before we do anything else, and I'll forget. It's this bolt right here into that brace. I don't want to cause myself a problem later. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Okay. It's in. That's what she said. All right, water. We try to keep the spilling to a minimum. We'll know what we got when we're down here. Uh-oh. He says as he immediately spills. There we go. I think we just needed to get the hose in kinked all the way. All right, we're full where I can touch water. We're gonna put this on, and hopefully tomorrow morning we still got that same much water in there. Preliminary tests look good. I don't see any moisture. Of course, you can't say that about the backside because I made a horrible mess spilling it. But basically, I don't see much continuous stream. That drip over there is running out of the overflow tube, so that's understandable. I think we might have her, friends. Tomorrow will be the teller, so I'll bring you back when that takes place. All right, it's the next morning. I went ahead and slapped a bunch of stuff together last night, thinking positive, you know, that this was gonna work. We will take the cap off and see. And it is a good news. It is still full of water, so we don't have any leaks. I'm hesitant about how good is this radiator really, you know, will it stand up to everything? The vibration, I don't know, but it's better than what we had, at least right now. The real test is going to be taking it in the field and making sure that it doesn't make the thing run hot, you know. If that one's half plugged up with stuff, we didn't gain us anything, but just running the water through it, it came out about as fast as you put it in. So I don't think that it's a problem. I think it'll be fine, but I need to get this one worked on so that we're good to go and we can slap that back in. If they have to recore it, I'm fine with that. I want a good radiator in this. That's just the way it is. So we'll get that taken care of. But for now, I'm going to call this a win. So that's where we're going to leave this one. As always, if you enjoy my videos, give them a thumbs up. That helps out the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment. Tell me that you liked it or tell me that you hated it. Tell me I'm a moron. I really don't care, but anything that you say helps us out too. So thank you again, as always, for watching, and I will see you in the next one.